Hi, welcome to the Cupcake Fox channel. My name is Namu, and today I'm going to be talking about rejection. This video will not be all-encompassing. I'm not entirely sure what everyone is struggling with out there, but rejection seems to be a big one. I do plan on making more videos about how to love yourself in the future. Just as a disclaimer, I have no qualifications. I've barely been scraping by through my arts degree, so take what I say with a grain of salt. These are just things that I wish I had been told. Essentially, rejection is a social concept of someone, your family, a friend, a group of friends, a love interest, someone telling you that you, something about you, or something that you did is not good enough. And it hurts. Now, some people get tripped up right then and there for feeling bad about feeling rejected. We haven't even gotten into the why and how to fix it, and they're already criticizing themselves for feeling things. If that's you, stop right there. No matter what, you are allowed to feel bad. In fact, according to an article by Guy Winch of Psychology Today, link below, rejection piggybacks on physical pain pathways in our brain. The same areas of the brain become activated when we experience rejection as when we experience physical pain. In fact, Winch goes on to tell us that taking Tylenol has been proven to help soothe rejection for some people, so that they feel less emotional pain while reliving rejection than without the Tylenol. That's not to say that I recommend taking Tylenol to ease the pain of rejection. It's up to you, but Winch also tells us that the emotional pain response is a survival tactic. We are social animals, and generally we need other people to survive. And rejection is a warning that we may face ostracism. Besides, there are natural ways to help ourselves overcome the pain of rejection. The main one being connecting with people who love and care for us. But if you're like me, and you're looking up videos and articles about rejection because it's keeping you awake until 3 a.m., you might not have anyone to connect with because they're asleep. Or worse, you assume you don't have anyone because you're bad and you deserve to feel bad. Stop. Let me be the person who cares for you. Please listen to me, and I will talk about the pain you're feeling, what you can do to try and fix it, and why you should let yourself sleep. Obviously, rejection and the pain that we feel from it is different for every person and for each scenario. I will only be addressing some of them for now, but if I'm missing yours, let me know. Leave a comment and send me a message. I'll get back to you. Here are some common forms of rejection: the loss of a friend, rejection of a love interest, rejection for a job, or family rejection. Loss of a friend. This one resonates with me. More than anything, I'm afraid of losing a friend, or should I say another friend, because I've lost many. I'm so afraid of losing friends that I often cancel on times to hang out with them just to avoid talking to them at all, because I don't want them to find out that I'm not worth their time, and I don't want them to feel forced to tell me that. And this ultimately just leads to me losing more friends. If you've lost a close friend, you may find yourself feeling lost, like your everyday existence has been altered. Having someone close to you and who makes you feel comfortable and safe is rare, and whether you got into a fight with them, or they suddenly told you that you aren't as valuable to them as they are to you, or you've moved apart in literal physical distance, or just don't connect with them emotionally as often as you used to, the loss of this person can sometimes surprise you with how badly it hurts, or how deeply it changes your life. Remember not to blame yourself for feeling bad. We've already discussed that it's okay to feel bad. But another emotion you might feel is anger. How could they abandon you like that? The first thing you should do is reflect. Reflect on your actions, reflect on your relationship with them. Don't try to evaluate whether or not it's their fault, because you're the one being rejected. They obviously aren't in a state where they'd like to accept blame from you. If the relationship is worth fixing, you'll probably have to figure out how to apologize, even if you don't know what you did or if you're certain that it's not your fault. One important thing to remind yourself is that you would never intentionally hurt this person, because if you would intentionally hurt them, then I strongly recommend that you just allow them to leave your life. If you did hurt them and it was deliberate, but you realize that it was the wrong thing to do and you regret it, apologize to them and don't do it again. If you don't know what you did, you can apologize for not being more aware of how they were feeling. If it's their fault and you're sure of it, I'm going to recommend that you apologize, if they are worth it. You can work out the details later when you're both feeling more stable in your relationship. Or you can let it slide. People make mistakes, and you love this friend, right? If not, damn, just let it be. It can still hurt, but maybe it's for the best. Once you've apologized, let them know that you care about them and want them in your life. Let them know that you want to be there for them even when it's hard, maybe even especially when it's hard. Think about what you want from them, their advice, their love, their care, their kindness, and then offer those things to them instead of asking it from them. They probably need to know what you're willing to put into the relationship, and they're more likely to give you what they know you'd be willing to give to them in return. And make sure that you tell them how they can reach you, or else they may not know how and you might not get a response, and that'd be a silly reason not to get a response. At this point, leave it alone. Don't bombard them with messages, don't ask for a response, don't send them gifts, don't ask for their friendship back. Don't try to explain yourself or make excuses or apologize for bugging them. That's it. You've done everything you can. You can't control their actions, and what comes next is their decision. You've made yourself vulnerable, and they decide how they will react to that. To make themselves vulnerable too and accept you, or steal themselves and refuse you again. If they refuse you, if they get mad and insult you, just leave it. You don't know how emotional and impulsive they're feeling right now, and you don't want to try and push yourself back into their lives or argue back at them when they're feeling like this. That would eliminate the chances of you making up. If you do choose to contact them again at all after they've insulted you or been angry with you or refuse you, let it be just to let them know that you're still sorry, the offer still stands, or to thank them for what time you have had together. That way, you can leave the conversation knowing that you did the best you could, and that you didn't lose your composure or your temper with them. So long as you were respectful to them, you don't have to feel bad. So when I say leave it alone, I also mean for you too. Leave yourself alone. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. Don't wonder what you could have done better, because not only is it too late, but the decision has stopped being yours and has become theirs. And there's no sense in continually beating yourself up about something you can't change or control anymore. Use it as a learning experience, because you will have new close friends, and now you know a little more about how to treat them. Rejection of a love interest. This form of rejection can be so similar to a friendship one. For some people out there, your sexual or romantic partner is your best friend. And that's great, right up until they've rejected you. It's worth mentioning that rejection in a romantic relationship can take different forms. Our minds might default to being rejected when asking someone out, but you can also be romantically rejected when your partner breaks up with you, refuses to have sex with you, or when they continually treat you in a way that you don't like because they don't like something about you or something that you do. I've found that rejection can be an everyday occurrence in an unhealthy relationship. For the most part, you can refer to the loss of friend portion of this video for how to deal with rejection from your romantic or sexual partner. But before I leave it at that, let me go over some more severe scenarios. If your partner continually refuses to have sex with you, it generally means that there is some underlying issue. They are hurting in one way or another. It may not be because of you, it might be because of something from their past or something from work or wherever, but make sure that you make yourself someone that they feel safe to talk to about it, or it will never get better. And be aware that it might be you. Maybe they feel hurt because of something you did, or maybe it's them. Their heart isn't in the right place anymore. In any case, if you two truly love and respect each other, you need to be able to talk about it respectfully. And if you two are right for each other and care about each other, then the chances are high that you will be able to fix it. Another serious scenario to be aware of is when you're feeling rejected by your partner on a regular basis. If you constantly feel like you're not good enough, or that they hate you, or are always mad at you, to me, personally, this is a clear sign that the relationship is very off-tilt. Check and see if they feel as bad as you do. Figure out if it's worth staying in that relationship. But keep in mind that that constant feeling of rejection could be a sign of an abusive relationship. It could be. I'm not saying that it is. But if you're the one who's hurting all the time and they seem fine with just hurting you on a regular basis and they don't feel bad or responsible about it, you might need to get yourself out of there. Ask friends or people you trust for their opinions and support. Ask me for support if you have to. Leave a comment, send a message, but take care of yourself. You're important. At the very least, you're important to me. And just for your information, an abusive partner may tell you that you deserve to feel bad because you make them feel bad. Is that the kind of relationship you want to be in? Where you're both so unforgiving and so unsympathetic that you want the other person to feel bad? Or, rhetorical question for you, would you rather be in a compassionate, forgiving relationship with someone who you would never want to feel bad because you love and accept them even for their mistakes and their faults? This can apply to friendships too. Friendships can be abusive, so take care of yourself. But with that out of the way for now, let's talk about when you ask someone out or ask to take your relationship to the next level with them and they turn you down. Depending on where you are in life, this can make you feel various levels of pain. For me, when I was younger, I used to feel like next to nothing. It was okay that they didn't want to be with me, at least it wasn't a breakup, right? Where we loved each other and then we didn't. But as I got older, the pain from this form of rejection became more insidious and profound. It led me to question why my relationships never pan out. Why did my friends leave me? Was I ugly? Was I ugly on the inside? If this is you, stop. It doesn't help you to reflect on this. For reference, in the article that I talked about before, Winch says, most romantic rejections are a matter of a poor fit and a lack of chemistry, incompatible lifestyles, wanting different things at different times, or such issues with mutual dynamics. Blaming ourselves and attacking our self-worth only deepens the emotional pain that we feel and makes it harder for us to recover emotionally. Don't try to pick yourself apart to figure out why it happened. Don't try to change yourself either. Learning something about yourself and self-improvement is one thing, but if you're not their type, don't try to be. It's deceitful to them and it's cruel to yourself. You deserve to be with someone who is your type and who also categorizes you as theirs. And if it seems like it's something like, oh, it's long distance, or it's my parents, they wouldn't accept us, or something that isn't your fault for being rejected, don't reflect too much on that either. The fact is, if you love someone enough, those things don't matter and you'll find a way to make it work. If that other person isn't willing to try and make a difficult relationship work with you, then you should be with someone who is willing to do so. And don't underestimate the value of having someone as a friend. If you love them and want them to be happy and want to get to know them, they're probably very valuable to you as a friend. This of course depends on how comfortable you both are after you just confessed that you have romantic feelings for them and them telling you no. If you have asked someone to be your romantic partner and they refused, but you still want to be friends, or try to be, refer again to the friendship portion of this video. Reflect, apologize, offer to be there for them, and leave it up to them. And leave yourself alone. Don't keep punishing yourself if you're having a rough enough day as it is. Rejection for a job. This one just sucks. Either you didn't get an interview, or you didn't get a call back, they told you they're not interested in hiring you, or you've been fired. No matter which it is, you need the money, you wanted the job, and you were told you weren't good enough, or that someone else was better. That sucks. But it's not true that you weren't good enough. I mean, maybe if you've never worked a job in your life, dropped out of high school, and then you suddenly applied to be the principal of a specialized private elementary school, then maybe you're not good enough for that position. But it's more likely that you're not qualified. Not qualified yet. The thing with jobs is that it's a competition. Someone might be less qualified and more of a jerk than you, but their resume and cover letter were more impressive looking. So they got the job. Or they have a good relationship with the hiring manager. Or maybe the hiring manager is racist or sexist and you can't prove it. That's still a thing. And the fact that it's internalized because we're not allowed to be racist by law means that it's really hard to prove. The thing is, we don't often know why we're rejected, and that uncertainty makes us judge ourselves. Am I lazy, sloppy, stupid? Do I seem stupid? As with the other cases of rejection, if this is you, stop. In another Psychology Today article, because apparently I like that website, about job rejection by Catherine Brooks, Brooks explains to us that no matter what year it is, and no matter how strong or weak the economy is, no matter how much you try, and no matter how qualified you are, the answer to "will you hire me?" is more often than not no. And that makes sense if you think about it. If a company has one job opening and 50 people apply, which really isn't that many people, there will be one person hired and 49 rejections. Brooks says one of the better things you can do for yourself to help yourself with rejection is to prepare yourself for the no. It's coming. It's going to come a million times. The only thing that you need is the one yes, and then you've got a job. You can ask the company for feedback when you've been rejected, but honestly, I wouldn't bother with that. I would just thank them for the opportunity and let them know that I'd be excited to work for them if another job opportunity shows up. Only because it's rare for them to give feedback, and sometimes you're not even notified of being rejected. So why bother? If you want to reflect on yourself and find out what you can do better in the next job application, ask someone you trust for advice. Show them what you wore to the interview. Ask them to go over your resume and cover letter. For God's sake, write a cover letter every time, especially if you're passionate about the job. Let your potential future employer know that. If you have no one to ask, you're wrong. You absolutely have somebody to ask. Me. Leave a comment and send a message. Just be smart about not revealing personal information on the internet and we'll chat about it, don't worry. Being fired. I'm reluctant to talk about being fired because I never have been, but I assume it can feel like death. You relied on the job for money, and if you loved the job, you've lost an important part of your existence, maybe even a part of how you define yourself. And unlike with friends or partners, you probably can't negotiate and apologize your way back into the position. I really don't have my own personal wisdom to offer here, but I can offer my support if you need it, comment, message. But I did find a helpful article on Psychology Today. I'm not promoting them or anything. Look at my subscriber count. Nobody needs me to sponsor them. I just like their articles. They're clear, concise, specific, and generally written by people who seem credible and educated. So the article is called 7 Things to Avoid After Being Fired, and it's by Shirley Borg-Carter, and you can find the link below. I have, however, lost a job in the sense that it was only a summer job and it's my passion, and when fall starts up and my job ends, I feel like I'm dying. And my advice for that is to find something to occupy your time during the time that you would have spent working, and keep at it until you find another job. For one, it's good to keep that work ethic going, and for another, you'll feel better when your mind is occupied. For me, the project that I started this year was YouTube videos. Also, hey, if you did the best you could at your job and you were respectful towards your employers, employees, and clients, what more can you do? Stay professional, don't send out anger and hate, because that can ruin your chances at getting similar jobs, and also don't hold it against yourself. Leave it alone. Leave yourself alone. Family rejection. This is another one that resonates with me. For some of you, you may only experience this a few times in your life. Few people will never experience it. But for some of us, rejection from our family members is something we face every day until we move out. Like other forms of rejection, it can have a profound effect on our self-esteem and on our social decisions, financial decisions, and pretty much every decision that we make. Unlike other forms of rejection, we can choose who we're friends with, who our significant other is, and where we work. We don't often get to choose our family until adulthood. We're born into a household, and that's our family. And even once you live on your own, your family can reject you at any time. They can refuse to add you on Facebook. They can stop answering your calls. They can stop contacting you altogether. You can feel totally locked on the outside. Maybe this is just a one-time thing, and they're just temporarily mad. Or maybe it's something more serious, like you sincerely feel you are in love with someone and they don't approve of that. Or you identify as someone that they don't want you to be, and so they shut you out. Or they don't shut you out, but they continually punish you or call you names. It's still rejection for who you are, or what you're doing. And you know what disgusts me the most? When parents do this. They chose to have you. It's their responsibility to care for you, to take care of you, to keep you safe. You've been told at an early age, either by them or by movies or stories or wherever, that your parents will love you unconditionally, and when in reality they reject you, you realize that that's not always true. Sometimes your family takes care of you only under certain circumstances, like when you're not under the influence of drugs, or when you're not a criminal. For me, I think I'm being rejected because I never work fast enough or hard enough. But guess who I'm going to be celebrating my eventual success with? The people who made it harder for me when things were tough, or the people who enabled me even when I was failing? That question is rhetorical. The point is, the good family members, the ones that you specifically deserve, are the ones who stick with you and actively take care of you, even when you misbehave, freeze up, stop progressing in life, and fuck up and fall over backwards. And sometimes, those good family members are not the ones who were forced to live with you for 18 years. Or 17, or less, depending on how long you could handle them. Sometimes you don't meet your good family members until you're all the way into adulthood, and they can come in the form of friends, partners, teachers, whatever. Please don't give up on family. Give up on the people who've given up on you, but don't you personally give up on you. You might feel broken and jaded and mean and cruel, but if someone tells you that they see better things in you, do what you can to believe them. If you want to be loved and cared for unconditionally, you might have to love and care for someone else that way first, and they may not be worthy of you, or they may reject you, and it will hurt, but don't give up. Rejection won't kill you, and if you're stuck with a crappy-ass life, family makes it better, worthwhile. And you can only obtain a family through making yourself vulnerable, and probably getting hurt a few times. Use my advice, and advice from people you trust and sources that you trust, on how to cope with rejection, and go out there and get rejected. It sounds shitty, and it is, but it means that you're trying, and that's good. It's the only way I know of to get to the non-shitty parts of life. For those of you who have good family members and you're trying to make it right with them, refer to my friendship part of the video. It's the only thing I know how to do, apparently. Reflect on your actions, apologize for what you think you've done wrong, offer your support and love, and leave it alone after that. Forgive yourself, and remember that if you're the one being rejected, there's only so much you can do. Family is obviously a touchy subject for me, but I'd like to talk about one more secret form of rejection that you probably don't think can hurt you, and that's the rejection of yourself. You can reject yourself. You reject yourself every time you look in the mirror and tell yourself you wish you looked better. You reject yourself every time you scold yourself for getting a bad grade or a bad performance review. You reject yourself every time you make fun of yourself for doing something wrong. You reject yourself every time you refuse to forgive yourself. Stop doing that. Don't guilt trip yourself over it, just let it go. Self-criticism is important, but let it be just that. You don't need to berate and bully yourself. You don't need to dwell and obsess over the what-ifs and the whys. If you messed up, acknowledge it and use it as a learning example for how to do better next time. If someone rejected you, follow my steps and then forgive yourself. If you're ugly, don't fucking say that because you're not and nobody cares. At least nobody worth your time or worthy of your love will care about how you look. Do you love people for the way that they look? I mean, if you do, fine, and put effort into being pretty too. It's the least you can do if they're looking pretty for you. But if you love people for the way that they think or behave, then they probably love you for the same reasons. And it doesn't matter what you look like. The important thing is that you're healthy. Not just your body, but your mind too. And your mind won't be healthy if you keep rejecting yourself. And don't reject yourself for rejecting yourself. Cut yourself some slack. Here's what I do when I feel a negative comment or rejection coming from me. I stop. I tell myself not to bully me. I even apologize to myself. Sorry, that was too harsh. Your hair isn't disgusting, but maybe you could brush it, okay? Okay, I forgive you, me. Because you're stuck with you. You need to forgive you, because you're not going anywhere until you die. And if you really, really don't like something about yourself, make a plan for how to transition yourself into the person you want to be. And congratulate yourself on being someone who cares enough to change yourself. Because it's not easy. It's not easy to admit that maybe you've got something about you that is unlikable. But you have to do that in order to change yourself. And let it be just that. Don't let 1 or 2 or 10 things that you don't like about yourself define you. Even if there are 20 things that you don't like about you, that's just 20 things. You have many other ways of bonding with people, and there are many ways to improve the things that you don't like about yourself. No matter what, don't call yourself a bad name or tell yourself that you're not good enough. Would you let somebody speak that way to your best friend? Your kid? Your partner? No. You'd tell your friend or kid or partner that whoever insulted them is an asshole and they should have known how to politely offer advice for improvement or constructive criticism. It's like so many people in this generation don't need to be told to treat others the way they want to be treated because they're nice to others and yet they treat themselves like crap. Treat yourself the way you treat others. And if you do that and you're still mean to you, consider being nicer to others so that you can be nice to yourself too. Okay, I think I've driven the point home that you need to forgive yourself and be nice to yourself. The fact of the matter is, if you're being respectful and apologizing when you make mistakes, and you're willing to be there for others, you can't control who does or doesn't want to be there for you. And here's the truth. If you're watching this video looking for ways to avoid rejection in the future or ways of coping with it now, I'm pretty sure you're a good person. Why? Because you care enough to feel bad and to look for ways to fix things. That's a beautiful thing. Keep caring and keep putting yourself out there. Getting rejected isn't a sign of you not being good enough. It's a sign of you being vulnerable and caring, and that's a good thing. So while it may seem bleak, I leave you with this. Keep feeling rejected. It's going to keep happening, but be respectful of others and of yourself, and then move on. And if it hurts, and it's harder for you, and more painful for you than it is for anyone else, that's not because you're weak. You're strong for hanging in there. And for that, you deserve love and care. If you need more help than this, keep doing research. I'm sure that's the right thing to do. But also, you can leave a comment asking for help and clarification, and I will get back to you. I encourage you to read the comments and see if someone else needs help. I don't have all the answers, and you probably have some good advice. The rules for commenting are in the description, along with the links to the articles that I cited. You can also private message me. I don't mind. Also, I have a Tumblr blog dedicated to the topic of self-love. You can tell it's me because of the fox doodle. Until the next video, take care of yourself.